My name's Ursula Rozum, and I'm a Syracuse native. My parents came here from Poland in 1982. They were solidarity trade union activists back in Poland against the communist government, and they came to the U.S. Looking for economic and political opportunities, well, political freedoms and economic opportunities. And I lived here most of my life, moved away for college for about 4 years, and then moved back in 2008. And 2008 was a really exciting year. I was working on a large get out the vote effort that registered about 5,000 voters, I believe. And I think that we really helped to, increase the turnout for the Democratic Party and Dan Maffei and Barack Obama in the city of Syracuse. Because given the demographic, people were really excited, working class folks, people of color, very excited in 2008. And I was definitely part of that excitement. And I decided to run I decided to run for Congress this year because I didn't see real solutions being offered by my opponents. They weren't offering solutions to what I see as the two main crises facing us, the climate crisis and the jobs crisis, which is at the core of the economic crisis. And I know myself, I'm very concerned about the future of the U.S. and the future of people around the world that are affected by climate instability. We're already seeing our local food supply is being affected. There's going to be crop failures. That's going to lead to rising food prices. And so it's, instability is only going to get worse. And I know lots of people that can't find work, from college educated to folks, that with a little less education that are willing to work, that can't find work. So that combined with high debt, whether it's housing debt or student loan debt. Myself, I have a little bit over 30,000. I know people with a little bit less, a whole lot more, and we're not really seeing a way out right now. It basically feels like there's not a future for my generation or future generations. If you can't find work, how are you supposed to pay your student loan debt? And then that's just compounded by the bleak, outlook when it comes to the climate. So I've been involved with the Green Party for a few years. I've worked on some campaigns. I've also been active with issue politics. I've been involved with the Latin America Solidarity Movement. I've studied the effects of U.S. foreign policy in Latin America, and I've independently and with different groups traveled to Colombia and Mexico and El Salvador to learn about the effects of U.S. economic policy, U.S. military policy, and U.S. drug war policy. Since moving back to Syracuse, I've been involved with the immigrant rights movement and also the movement to ban fracking in New York. And I know that we need political leaders that are willing to take positions on issues and offer solutions and to really talk honestly about the issues facing us. So I decided to run because the Greens have a great platform, and we called climate change. That was a problem that was going to come years ago. Greens predicted the economic crisis. Greens have been ahead of the curve on issues like gay marriage. Our Green Mayor Jason West back in New Paltz was performing gay marriages as an act of civil disobedience years ago. And so there's a lot of resources and really educated people to learn from in the Green Party, so I'm really excited and happy to be the Green candidate this year. Well, one of the major themes of my campaign is called the Green New Deal, which is a plan that Greens across the country are running on, including our presidential candidate Jill Stein. And the Green New Deal is modeled after FDR's New Deal that got the U.S. out of the Depression and put people back to work. So the Green New Deal would put people to work through a public jobs program, but a Green New Deal that addresses 21st century concerns, which right now is our energy consumption. So it would put people to work developing renewable energy systems, and it would really allow us to address the climate crisis with the urgency with which we mobilized for World War II. So right now the problem is that businesses aren't hiring, private businesses, and people don't have jobs, so consumers aren't spending. So really the only actor here that can actually decide to create jobs, because we need jobs, is the government. And so through some federal funding, but local planning and local needs assessment is how jobs would be created through the Green New Deal. But when we talk about energy independence, I think we have to be really clear right now that our energy policy and our energy future is really being held hostage by big energy, whether it's big oil, coal, and big nuclear. And they're who is really preventing us from moving to the clean, renewable, safe energy future that would otherwise be possible. And so when you think about energy independence, I think of things like what Auburn has or what Solvay has, which is municipally owned power authorities, for example, and also renewable energy sources, whether it's solar, wind, geothermal. There's a lot of places that are experimenting with heating and cooling from nearby bodies of water, like they're doing in Ithaca with Cayuga Lake, and they're doing it at SUNY Oswego. So energy independence really, I think, means that we're not relying on huge power authorities to provide us with the energy that we need. And studies have shown, like a study that came out of the University of Amherst, that there's 4 times as many jobs in the renewable clean energy sector as there are in equal when you invest equally in fossil fuels. Well, I would support a ban on hydrofracking, a statewide ban, and a federal ban. And it's encouraging to see even my opponents in this race they seem to be taking a similar position, even though I know that my opponent Anne-Marie Burkle does talk a lot about energy independence, and often that's code for domestic fossil fuel extraction. And we have to look at hydrofracking in terms of the risks it poses to the local environment, but also the larger impacts on the climate. And over the life cycle of drilling a well, there are a lot of greenhouse gas emissions that are produced. Methane is also released, which is a much more harmful greenhouse gas. So when if we start drilling, it's definitely going to harm our economy in a way that will, it'll be detrimental to it could be detrimental to our tourism, to our dairy industries, to our agriculture. And upstate New York it's a beautiful part of the country, and it would be heartbreaking to see it damaged. And so that's why so many people like myself are committed to preventing this method of gas extraction from coming to New York State. Well, I would favor extending the Bush tax cuts for the bottom 90% of income earners, and then taxing the rich fairly again, and having graduated marginal income tax brackets on the top 10%. And also, I think we have to adjust the tax code so it's transparent, so there aren't tax expenditures and deductions that are hidden in the budget that are hidden in different kinds of legislation. That I think that the tax structure should be straightforward, so that based on your income and based on income from financial assets, we have a progressive income tax. Because when we think of times of prosperity in U.S. history, it was when folks that were richer were paying higher rates of taxes, and this was, even Republican presidents, under Eisenhower, we were doing great, and we had progressive tax rates then, and so a straightforward tax code and graduated marginal tax rates would be, I think, my solution to just to the deficit and general national budget problems.